The Defenders just hit Netflix this past Friday. This is the culmination of 5 seasons of Marvel television on Netflix. We've seen Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and 2 seasons of Daredevil. And in this show, all of them come together to fight the looming threat on New York City that is the Hand. So, let's talk about it. If you want to know my thoughts on the existing shows in this Marvel Netflix universe, Iron Fist was definitely the worst out of all of these. I think that show really suffered from a lot of uninteresting characters and a lot of storylines that just weren't compelling at all. Luke Cage was a show that I enjoyed for the most part. I didn't love it like a lot of other people did, but I thought it was really entertaining, and I love Mike Colter as Luke Cage. I absolutely adored Jessica Jones and Daredevil, 2 of the best things that has ever come out of Marvel. The reason I was so excited to see what Defenders would look like is because we've had 5 seasons of television in this universe that are all 13 episodes long, so that means we've had a lot of time to develop and flesh out all these characters. And seeing them all come together in an Avengers-style way sounded really awesome. I've been hearing some people lately say the first 2 episodes of this show are really slow and that you kind of have to grit your teeth and get through it. And honestly, I respectfully disagree, because I think the first 2 episodes of this show handled the introduction really well. Because when the show starts off, none of them are all assembled together like a team already. We see Luke Cage trying to find this kid. We see Jessica Jones on her own case, trying to help her client. We see Matt Murdock, who's in a path of trying to not become Daredevil anymore because he wants to put all that life behind him. And we see Iron Fist, who's on his own journey to defeat the Hand. And all of their paths intertwine eventually, and just the way they captured that was really cool. They don't all just start out as a team of superheroes. You can clearly see that all of them are following their own life paths, and they don't even think about the prospect of working together until like episode 3 or 4. Easily the best thing about this show is the chemistry between all 4 of the main characters. They're all so good, and they all have completely different personalities, and watching them play off of each other was so much fun. First of all, let's talk about Iron Fist, because in his show, I didn't think Finn Jones' performance was all that compelling, and also the writing for his character was pretty weak. Defenders kind of fixes that. I think he's definitely made better with the presence of the other actors on the screen. He has some amazing chemistry with Luke Cage, particularly in episode 2. Also, I cared a lot more about his motivations and his personal journey and his goal in trying to stop the Hand in this show. It just seems a lot more compelling. We all know Mike Colter as Luke Cage is a complete badass, and in this show he's great once again. He still says some really corny stuff, and he has a great entertaining presence, but he also has a lot of humanity, which is explored more in this show. This show also makes me want to watch Jessica Jones Season 2 right now, because Kristen Ritter is amazing in this show. She's a total badass, she's really funny, and in particular I think she has really great chemistry with Matt Murdock. Daredevil's actually one of my favorite superheroes. If you've ever read The Man Without Fear by Frank Miller, it's an amazing comic, and he's such a great character. And with this show, I am still convinced that no one can do a better job than Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. He is this character. His performance feels so real, and he has a great arc in this show where he's trying to decide if being Daredevil should be part of his life, or if he wants to put that all behind him. So really there's nothing much else I can say about the 4 leads in this show. They're all great. They play off of each other really well. Daredevil and Jessica Jones are probably my favorites, but I think Finn Jones as Iron Fist has really improved in this show, and Mike Colter as Luke Cage is entertaining as hell as always. It's kind of like the same feeling I got when I watched The Avengers for the first time. Rosario Dawson as Claire Temple is back in this series, and I know everyone has been saying this lately, but yeah, she is the Nick Fury of this universe, and always good. She's fantastic in this series. To me, Colleen Wing's character was easily the most interesting thing about Iron Fist. I thought her relationship with Danny didn't feel forced like I thought it was going to, and the show just incorporates her well, unlike some other side characters, which I will get into. But she was great. I really like her character, and I can't wait to see more of her in this universe. I wasn't the biggest fan of Elektra in Daredevil Season 2. She's back in this show, and honestly, I think they did a really good job at figuring out how to make her character work, because she's great in this show. Her action scenes are really great. She has a much more compelling arc around the second half of this show, and she delivers some really heartbreaking scenes, which I wasn't expecting at all. The show's filled with some really great action scenes and awesomely choreographed fights. My favorite episodes action-wise would probably have to be episodes 2 and 3. The finale was really cool too, but unfortunately the big final battle in this show was filmed in the dark pretty much. And that goes for some of the rest of the show too. A lot of the fight scenes are filmed in really dimly lit areas, and you can't really see anything, which is unfortunate. My biggest problem with this show is unfortunately that it doesn't have that great of a villain presence. It never really figures out who it wants to be its main antagonist. Sigourney Weaver plays Alexandra, who's supposed to be the main villain, and she gives a really good performance, but I didn't really care about her character that much. As the show goes on, you understand her motivations and you're able to get behind her more, but I just didn't think she was anywhere near as interesting as Punisher or Kilgrave, or especially Wilson Fisk. She didn't really feel like she was that much of a threat to the Defenders, because you also have Madame Gao and Elektra, who also serve as villains, and the show just doesn't really pull you in to the villain characters. It always cuts back and forth between 2 or 3 people, and I didn't think it worked as well as it should have. A lot of the other supporting characters from the other shows are mixed into this one, like Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, and also Misty Knight, and they got really annoying to me. I didn't feel like they really needed to be there. I really liked Foggy and Karen in Daredevil, but in this show, all they do is worry about Matt the whole time, and worry if he's gonna be dead tomorrow because he's being Daredevil, and they try to convince him that being Daredevil's not the life for him, and that's really all they do in this show. Towards the second half, Misty Knight pops up in this show over and over and over again, and all she's doing is kind of just telling the Defenders that they can't be doing anything illegal or infringing on public safety and that kind of thing. And I didn't really like all 3 of those characters. I understand why they have to have a presence in this show, because they're part of this universe and we need to establish, okay, all these characters are going to be together at some point. But really, other than the villain presence and some of the side characters, I really liked the Defenders. I thought it was a ton of fun. It was a great culmination of all these heroes coming together. The action, for the most part, was great. The chemistry between the 4 leads was amazing. The dialogue is really funny at times. And this show really did pick things back up again after the mediocre season of Iron Fist that we just had. I'm going to give the Defenders an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really fun show. And if you've liked any of the series in this Marvel Netflix universe, you definitely should give this a watch. Alright guys, so those are my thoughts on the Defenders Season 1. What did you think of this show? Also, what are you most excited to see going forward in the Marvel Netflix universe? Personally, I cannot wait for The Punisher, and I'm also really excited to see Jessica Jones Season 2. Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. Also be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.